there, welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole, and on this channel I'm attempting to cash budget my way out of debt, fight several fires, and deal with the day-to-day that comes with being a small personal finance YouTube channel. And did you notice that I just very slightly tweaked my intro there? Deal with the day-to-day that comes with being a small personal finance YouTube channel. This video is going to be a little bit longer. I'm going to keep you company while you do a task, while you do your own budget. Sit down with a coffee with me while I also go through and make up some more savings challenges and get those cut down. And it's a video which I didn't think I was going to set out and release today. I'm in the process of going through and refreshing my Not Another Budget Instagram, which I'm ashamed to say has been dormant for about a year, even though I've got followers over there. And part of that was going to be me kind of releasing and updating my updated debt total. And within that, it kind of feels appropriate that I tell you guys what that is before I just put it as a tagline on my social media. But last night I got a comment on my video from yesterday. Now, full disclosure, if you're going to leave a comment which doesn't offer, and I am open to constructive criticism, but I'm not open to trolls, and I'm not open to insults, and I'm not open to just mindless negativity. So anyone who leaves a comment like that, I now go through and I hide those comments. You can't really block a viewer on YouTube anymore. They've taken that away from us as creators, but actually I think they've done one better. What they've given us instead is the ability to hide a comment. So that means that myself as the creator and you as my viewers, commenters, subscribers, lurkers, don't get to see the comments that these individuals leave. They get to see their comments, but no one else does. So if you're minded to come on and just troll anyone because you are so lacking in your own life, your life is so boring and meaningless and lacking in attention because no one ultimately cares about you, that you feel like jumping on a channel of any size, let alone a 2,000 strong personal finance small budgeting channel in the UK, is the best way to go and get that. The best thing I can do is to take away that person's ability to be seen and to get that attention that they crave. Is this video a comeback? Not really. Equally, I don't want my commenters on my videos to be subjected and have to face anything like that at all. My comments are starting to become a little bit of a community within themselves, which is lovely, and it's very, very small scale, but it's really heartening to see that someone will leave a message and then someone else will comment underneath, not me at all, and will offer them advice, because it may be that that commenter is commenting about a specific thing which I can't relate to at all and therefore can't talk to you about because I don't really know or understand the American system or the Australian system or the specifics of this, but actually someone else does, and someone comes along and engages. And I know I have got so many of you who have been here from day one who consistently pop up in my comments, and over the past 2.5 years, not like a bit more than that now, I'm seeing familiar faces and I'm seeing familiar names like Paula and Jeremy and Lou Budgets and Jazz Budgets as was, and so many others, Crumblecraft Budgeting, Deirdre's Budgeting, and so many new names as well, like Jer, There Is a Tide, Milk Tea Reacts and Milk Tea Chilled, that come in and pop in every now and then, but I know are around and there. And those are just a few names of those that I can just remember off the top of my head that pop in and do things. I don't want my viewers to come onto what is overwhelmingly a positive community and be confronted with something which is negative, insulting. Triggering is an overused word, but sometimes I have received comments and I look at them and go, well, I don't want people that follow me, who I know because of the nuggets they've left in their comments on my videos, that are going through stuff, to have to read this. So I'm just going to remove your need for attention. But what it did make me think about, and I'd better start this because I have a little announcement at the end of this video. What it did make me think about actually is why we, as small finance budgeting YouTubers, make the decision to come onto the internet, and whether it is through YouTube, whether it is through Twitter, whether it's through TikTok or Instagram or any channel, just decide to spill our financial shenanigans to random strangers on the internet. Because although those names that I've recently mentioned in my comments, and those of you who I see donate, who don't ever leave a comment but just kind of, drop money in or purchase from me, please don't take this the wrong way, but I've not met any of these people in person, and you are names on YouTube. And I get a snapshot of who you are, but in extent, I am a random stranger on the internet, and so are you. It's a community which for a really long time was dominated by American voices. I very, very first attempted back in 2018 to do a budgeting YouTube channel. It doesn't exist anymore. I made it about 4 videos in, had 27 subscribers. I was appearing in person, and it wasn't true budgeting. It wasn't a good thing for me to go ahead and do, and it wasn't honest budgeting, I would say. But at that time, that space was dominated, really, really, really dominated by American voices. We're talking Marissa Leader, Budget Girl, who else was there? Millennial Debt Free, loads and loads and loads of names, and there were barely any, and I'm talking... If you probably say that, I would say dominant voices at the minute in the UK are within the budgeting YouTube community. You've got Rainbow Budgets, you've got Budget with Ira, you've got Iris Budgets, you've got My Money Matters, Esther is over there. You've got, I would say, retroactively speaking, larger channels that have a really healthy following and produce generally fantastic content. And that's not saying either that smaller channels don't do that at all, but we are lacking in... How many subscribers has Budget Girl got? Like 50,000 plus channels. We're lacking in 100,000 plus channels. So for a long time, we as UK budgeters, if you were trying to UK budget, were trying to do what you could and seeking like-minded voices, and you could find American voices. But in the UK, we don't have 401ks. We very rarely have weekly or bi-weekly paydays. Our pension structure is completely different. Our benefits package is completely different. Our take home on average, if you think about hourly, weekly, monthly pay, annual salary, is completely different. Obviously, there's things like exchange rates as well that go in there. But it was really, really hard to find... channels that you could relate to if you were looking for budgeting finance. And then around about 2020, 2021, we started to see these channels emerge. When I myself was thinking about creating and going, I need to basically sell my financial life story to strangers on the internet, essentially. I would like to get monetized, and I would like to build up a following. I've been watching Rainbow Budget since her very, 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 very first incarnation of videos, and I know her channel has changed quite a lot. I know she's removed a lot of old content, but from day one, Rainbow Budgets was recommended to me. Budget with Ira, I've been watching from very, very, very early, and then through there, I found other channels and other voices as well. Some of them don't exist anymore, and some of us have kind of arrived in the meantime and taken the place of those channels that have disappeared. It was really refreshing to see that actually there were people who were in debt, and it wasn't hundreds of thousands or tens of £1,000s of student loan debt, because that system is completely different over here, and it wasn't in debt to the IRS, and it wasn't anything dramatic like that. It was, I have a credit card, or I'm dealing with historic payday loans, or this is my family living situation. This is how much I'm getting paid. And it felt very, very, very real, in a way that trying to relate to American budgeting channels at the time didn't feel real to me. I knew in 2023, when I started my channel, that I was almost at a point of no return with my finances. I had nothing else I'd done had worked, and you could say that I was doing the wrong things. And yes, there will be some camera shake because I am going through and using the desk, which has just apparently gotten wobbly with an unstable mount. I financially, as soon as I became a financial adult, turned 18, I never made good financial decisions, ever. This is the first time in my entire adult life. I started the channel when I was 31. I started the channel when I was 31. I'd never made good financial decisions in my life, ever. And is that down to a lack of financial education? I don't know. Separate video, bit more of a deep dive than what this video could already turn out to be. But I knew that by the age of 31, I was in desperate need of help. I had a debt relief order, so I had completely trashed my credit report. I had no access to funding. I had council tax arrears that I was going through the small claims court system to deal with and get resolved because I couldn't afford my council tax. I was, like I am now, off sick, and trying to juggle 2 jobs and freelance income. I was transitioning out of a career which had basically meant for the entirety of my adult working life as a professional, I was experiencing boom or bust. Income, irregularities, freelancing, bouncing around. I had payday loans, I had personal loans, I had credit card debt. This was all back in my 20s, not when I started the channel. I owed money to family. I was a financial wreck. And I'd gone through the debt relief order with the intention of trying to give myself a clean slate, which financially I had done at the time, and the intention was good, but it never addressed the actual true behaviour. And I could do a budget, but then could never understand why I couldn't stick to it. And I couldn't understand why I spent the way I did, and my spending habits were the way they were, and the way I spent my money and when was the way it was. All I knew was that I was in a house which I was trying to pay for solo, and I couldn't afford my council tax, and I'd closed a business down in March of that year without any planning to do so, and that business had been a sole source of income, and things were just going a bit wrong. And I typed into YouTube, which is what I'm sure many people have done and many people are doing and many people will do, how to budget when you're a spender, because I knew I was a spender. I didn't need a little form on the internet to tell me that. I could look at my own spending habits and realise I had a problem. And what was recommended to me were videos by Rainbow Budgets, who just started her channel, and Budget with Ira. And over the course of that time, I was able to go through and really get a drive for I'm going to do this and this is great. And I wasn't buying products. I didn't buy a single budgeting product off Etsy until 2 months into my channel. I was a pen and paper budgeter with a notebook for a little bit of time. I tried an Excel spreadsheet, wasn't for me. I need the satisfaction of pen and paper in the way that other people need the apps and the reminders and the notifications to keep themselves on track. That wasn't me. I tried the apps. I tried Emma. I tried a few others, not sponsored by any of these. They didn't work for me. But at the same time, I knew that I was in trouble with this council tax. I was not in a position to talk to family because my financial history as it regards to family members, not great. Like, there was not going to be a source of support there, either financially or emotionally, or a cheerleading factor, because they had gotten tired of me being like, here's the next thing that I'm going to do to fix this, and then inevitably there being issues. At the same time as well, I owed money to my guarantor because there have been so many months where I couldn't pay rent. Most of the times it was because I didn't earn enough to pay rent, and that in itself was an issue because I was still persisting on the assumption that things were fine. And that was a personal relationship for someone that I had valued, that I owed £9,500 to when I started the channel, near enough, in rent. And I'd only been living in my house at that point for 3.5 years, and my rent at the time was £750. So they'd stepped in a hefty amount of time, and they were at the point where they were like, we're not doing this anymore. I'd also, in the June of that year and the May and June of that year, potentially had nearly lost the house. this was when the landlord got cold feet, and I realised I financially was not in a position to weather that, and I was going to be completely financially dependent on the support of other people, because trying to juggle 2 part-time jobs that weren't even bringing in a full-time wage and then get back to freelancing, it was a mess. I financially was at the lowest I had ever been, and that's despite the current way things are now. And despite watching all of these channels and reaching out into the comments under my own name, I realised that while it was all very well me budgeting and trying to do a budget, there was no one there that was going to keep me accountable, because the people in my life who I would have liked to have done that, those emotional stakeholders that we've talked about before, they were done. They were like, no. And I realised that the only way I was going to change their mindset about how I was with money was to physically show them without needing them. And that's without needing them to oversee a budget and check in with me, because they also come with opinions. They come with opinions that, because they're emotional stakeholders in your life and because they know you and your full history, there's a certain amount of, we don't quite trust what we're doing. And we also have our own way of viewing money, which is completely opposite to yours. And there was an element of, well, we do it this way, so why can't you do it this way? This, I'm sure, because I get it from my comments, is sounding familiar for quite a few people. And I think it's therefore a really difficult realization when you realize that actually I'm not the same as the people around me. This budgeting channel is not the same as other budgeting channels. This is not a budgeting channel where you're going to get a weekly cash stuffing and a weekly, I made this an extra income and I've filled in this savings challenge and this is my weekly reconciliation for this budget. And that's because I'm not in a place where I can do that. I would love, genuinely love to have 1 month, just one, where that is my content. Here is me cash stuffing, even if it's £5, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the amount. I'd love to have a month where here's me cash stuffing. Here's a weekly budgeting reconciliation when nothing goes wrong and it's all fine. Here's this lovely new product that I've created. Please rush out and buy it. Here is this. Here is this goal that I've achieved. Here's me signing off this binder. I love watching that content because to me that is aspirational content. It's also content which is not targeted at people who have a certain amount of income or not. If you can save 10p, you've saved 10p. And for some people, there will be people out there who saving 10p, and I don't mean this as a snide thing, saving 10p is a big thing because they do not have 10p to spare. I don't consider myself poor. I don't consider myself wealthy. I consider myself managing as best I can. And within that does sometimes mean that you're not going to see a content which is, here's my cash stuffing, here's my weekly reconciliation, here's me completing this goal, here's me stuffing these envelopes. What you see is the realities of really messy personal finance and personal budgeting. And budgeting is messy. Financial lives are messy. That may mean as well that it's a bit boring for a time. That may mean that I go for all of April talking about the fact that I'm ill and it's not great. Why is it not great, Nicole? Because it means that actually I'm on half my income. And that half my income puts me in a bracket financially, which I'm not okay with and I'm not happy with. Equally, yes, I'm ill. I'm trying to do the best that I can in the situation that I've got. And because that is wrapped up in my finances, I can't escape that. I can't come on and go, yeah, I'm on half pay. Nicole, why are you on half pay? Don't want to talk about it. Well, you're a budgeting channel, so you kind of need to within the realms that you've got. It means as well that I need to talk about the fact that I've got goals that I want to achieve. And anyone who watches my channel and has watched me from day one knows that hitting my goals are bloody difficult. I am not a channel which smashes out those goals easily because life has a way of coming along and just knocking me on my backside. And that is just the way it is. And I put that down to the fact that because I am going through and making such a drastic change, and this is a drastic change, I cannot put into words and describe adequately enough how financially miseducated or undereducated I was. The best way that I could possibly snapshot it is that when I got a student overdraft at 18, having opened up a student account which came with a £500 automatically, I rang my mum one day at the cash point and went, Mum, have you put extra money into my account because I'm plus £480? I wasn't plus £480. I'd gone £20 into my overdraft. I didn't know what the difference between CR and DR, as in debit, was. My mum knew and immediately took me down the bank to pay the £20 in, so I didn't go into the overdraft, and then had a massive go at me about going into my overdraft. I didn't know what it meant. So that formed the basis of my entire financial journey throughout my 20s. So we've got a level of financial undereducation, or just lack of education. We've got a boom or bust freelance industry where literally I could be earning £6,000 one month and then nothing for the next 3, and then thinking, I've got £6,000, it's fine, I'll find extra work, I'll just spend the £6,000 and then not deal with the fact that I've got 3 months worth of issues to deal with. And we go on and we go on and we go on. And let's just add in payday loans, because they were a wonderful thing that I chose to do when I was in my 20s as a student. Let's add in personal loans. Let's later add in credit cards, because it's not real money. It's not mine. It's fine. I don't have to care about it. I'll pay the minimums. It's all wonderful and it's all gravy. And you lead to a spiraling situation. But by the time I hit 30, 31, and it all hits the fan, because I can't outrun it anymore, then actually it means that I'm in a period of my life where undoing that is messy, it's hard, it's difficult, it's boring, it's drama-filled from a budgeting perspective. I would love a calm month. I would love here's me here doing this savings challenge, here's me working this. It's spring, I want to work this, I designed this, it's pretty and it's beautiful, I want to do it. I can't have a holiday, but I want some mini breaks. I designed this, I love it, it's beautiful, can't work it right now. What else have we got? What else have we got? What else have we got? Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Oh, you're not here. Damn it. I can't continue on with the example. You get my point. Putting your financial information out there, and by financial information, I'm not talking like the nitty and gritty of your money. I'm talking about the fact that I didn't stick to my budget this week, or things haven't gone to plan, or I'm off sick and I'm on half pay. Or I spent this, didn't have any of my spending money allocated, didn't pay off this debt, spent the money on something else, didn't put money into savings, spent the money on something else. All of these things have happened at some point throughout my budgeting channel. I lost my purse in the first 3 months with my cash that I'd withdrawn to do a cash stuffing. Some stranger handed it in to the police station, which was lovely. There was a little bit of money missing, but not everything. And I got absolutely called out in the comments because I was fake budgeting, because I was cash stuffing my coins. Because that at the time was I either spiral or I control the thing that I can control, which is the coins that I have on hand, to remind myself that it's okay, I've got this, I've got control. That's messy budgeting. That's uncomfortable. That was within my first 3 months of this channel. Doing a debt confession is hard. People all of a sudden, when you do a debt confession and you put that out there, if you have debt, have opinions on the debt that you have, why you have that debt, should you have that debt, what you should do about it, and in what order. I had someone who I do respect over on an Instagram tide telling me to declare bankruptcy. I had a debt relief order. I was 31. I didn't pass the credit check for my house, so I needed a guarantor that I'd let down because they had to pay out because I couldn't afford the money myself. And I knew that guarantor wasn't going to be paying there. And I knew that alongside all of this, I had to deal with my credit. No way was I going to extend that situation for another 6 years. That was on me to deal with. And I know when I go back and update my debt situation on Instagram later on, that same person will come in again and say, I think you should declare bankruptcy. That's fine if that's the conventional way of doing things. I'm not conventional. Nothing about my financial situation is conventional. I have over £4,000 of energy arrears because I can't afford to pay my energy bill in full. Because my income at the minute is being zapped by the fact that I have a terminally ill cat. And I made that decision. Financially, not the best thing I've done. Emotionally, wouldn't change it, would do it again. But it doesn't change the fact that at some point I'm going to need to deal with the £4,000 of arrears. How have they not cut me off? Don't know. Don't know. Have no answers for you. I know I don't have the £491 a month that they would like me to pay to get all the arrears and my current uses cleared in a year. I know that I pay them what I use and what I can afford, and that keeps it at bay. But there was a time when I could not afford to pay my energy bill. And I was in energy arrears when I started this channel. That was one of my debts. That has just increased because costs went up. There is so much that you can feel as a YouTube budgeter about how you should be doing things and what content you should put out there, because certain content sells, certain content performs really, really well. You yourself can look at my own last 10 videos and see which ones have performed really well, really, really well for this YouTube channel. And you can see the content and you can see the thumbnail, and there is an assumption that an assumption which is proven, that if things aren't going well, that video performs better. Bad news sells. Drama sells. I put out a video yesterday which was actually fairly positive. I didn't go too much, I don't think, and I've listened to it back a couple of times as well. I didn't go too much into the fact that, things were difficult, I was struggling, it's an issue, despite the fact that that's just pretty much there. I was trying to talk positively about how I was motivating myself. That video won't perform as well as the video where I said on the thumbnail I was surviving, not thriving. Both things are true. And has it been the case that I have shared what's going on because it's so wrapped up in my money? Yes. If I didn't want to share, I would have genuinely been better off not making any content whatsoever than trying to skirt around it, because I can't skirt around it. I can't do a cash stuffing. My budget is going to pop every month for the past 3 months, and here's why. My income is down. Here's why. I can't get away from that situation. Doing a debt confession, like I've said, people have opinions. Cool. Have your opinions. It's my debt, not yours. What's your debt looking like? Why did you get into debt? Why did you go ahead and take out that credit card or personal loan? I don't think you should have spent your money on that. I thought you should have spent your money on this. That's not what I would do. I would do this instead. I think, in my opinion, I believe, I don't care. Unless you were in my shoes, unless I'm in your shoes, unless we're in so-and-so's in the comment shoes, shut up. And the reason why I say that in that way is because going into debt is not a light thing to do. It may feel it at the time, but all it takes is that very first statement coming through. Particularly like me, if you'd taken out a payday loan because you needed money quickly, because it was, I can't put petrol in my car, I can't get to work, and I can't eat. So I'm going to take out a payday loan at 23. That fixed the problem for me then, because it was instant and I needed it instantly. Dealing with the after effect and dealing with the statement, I don't need someone to start telling me that they don't think they should have done that, because unless you were literally the person who was going to put food in me, petrol in my car, and get me to work and sort out my issues and pay my phone bill so I didn't get cut off, you have no right to your opinion. Sorry. When you put yourself out there financially, it's incredibly vulnerable. You put yourself in a state of vulnerability because you are inevitably bringing with you feelings of shame over the financial situation that you're in, particularly if it's not great. Concern about judgment, because, we are a judgy race. Humanity is judgy, with a capital J. You expose yourself to opinions of people who have been there, done that before. You expose yourself to the quote-unquote right and wrong way of doing things. And you also expose yourself to the multitude of gurus, the frenemies like Dave Ramsey or Suze Orman or anyone like that, who have a method and they have their followings who are their ride or die. And you will be there as the outlier going, well, I want to take a bit of this, and I want to take a little bit of this, and my life is this. And that is why when you step onto the platform as a UK budgeter, as well, and that the community is tiny, full of tiny, tiny, tiny channels, and all of us are just there. And it is one of the most wholesome, supportive communities possible. And I cannot emphasize, as someone who feels affiliated with and enjoys different communities across YouTube and across the internet, how positive the budgeting community is. And I think a large part of it is because there is no right or wrong way to do things. I'm going to stand here and say that me taking on the payday loan at 23 when I did was the thing that I needed to do then, because that was the avenue at the time that was open to me. In that brief snapshot of time, it was the right thing to do. However, not paying it back, not dealing with it properly, taking out more payday loans to cover the payday cycle, not dealing with the income that I did have appropriately was the wrong thing to do. And that was the situation I was in. You would have been all over me, and rightfully so, in my 20s if I was here trying to put out budgeting content, because I was doing the every wrong thing possible. I got myself in a pickle, tried to dig myself out of the hole, dug a deeper hole, and there we go. I'm now 33 and dealing with that mess. I wouldn't ever go on to another budgeting platform and go, I don't think you should do this, because that's not how I would do it, because personal finance is personal. And I keep saying this time and time and time again. And I feel like because I've grown a little bit larger recently, I need to re-clarify this. You get what we share with you. Some share very, very little. Here's my cash stuffing. Here's my savings challenge. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. That works for them. Works for me as well, actually. It's really enjoyable content. Some of us share loads. Some of us appear on camera and are brave enough to share our faces. Some of us are just the talking hands or a voice overlay on a short. Some of us do long form content. Some of us, like me, freestyle. I have a brief idea about what I'm going to talk about. I don't script it. I come on. I don't edit it. Off we go. Let's do it. Here's a video. We're up to 31 minutes and 32 minutes exactly. And none of this is scripted. I'm freestyling. I'm talking. Off we go. Some of us go live and make savings challenges. Some of us don't. You will find nuggets of support out there to help you depending on what you're looking for. But if you're looking for a one-step solution as to this is how I should do things, particularly if recently, like many of us across the world, your financial situation's gone to pot, you're going to need to traverse across the budgeting sphere. Big words. You're going to need to travel across the budgeting YouTube space, and you might find something in my content which appeals to you. You might find something in Ira's content which appeals to you. You might find something in Rainbow Budget's content that appeals to you. You might find something in Jazz's content, in Deirdre's content. You might find a mix of UK, US, Australian budgeters that kind of make you go, okay, well that seems similar to what I'm doing. I like it. It works. Let's try this. You will cycle through multiple reiterations. I have lost count of how many budgeting planners and styles I have designed for myself. I have lost count of how many savings challenges I have purchased and then sold on because I thought it would do a thing. I have lost count of the amount of interesting fad accessory things that I have tried for anything over the year. Personal finance is trial and error, and we are not there to give you gratification and validation that your financial life is fine and we're poor and our lives are boring. That's not the case at all. I feel like I've gone on a bit of a rant. I have gone on a bit of a rant. For some of us, myself included, I would say Ira, Rainbow Budgets, our lives are very wrapped up in what we do with our budgets. We can't avoid it. And it means that the content we put out is different. The content we put out may not appeal to people. We may do things that you don't agree with. Other budgeting channels that I like and I enjoy, that I have mentioned, that I haven't mentioned, will do things that I sit there and I go, I don't think I would do that. I won't ever comment it because it's their lives. It's their money. I'm getting a snapshot of what they're living in the same way that you're getting a snapshot of what I'm living. ultimately sharing my becoming a YouTube budgeter, as small as I am, has been probably the best thing financially that I have ever done. And that's not because I've been monetized on YouTube, or because I have a shop, or because I have products, or because I have viewers and commenters and lurkers who support financially. It's because it forces me to be accountable, and it forces me to come back to you and go, it's gone horrendously wrong, or I'm in this situation and I'm looking for advice, or I need you guys to call me out on this in 4 weeks' time when I forget, or this is the things and this is the wins that I've had. These are the disappointments. This is the decision. I persisted, and I say stubbornly persisted, for nearly a year when I first started this channel, and OG original watchers will remember I had a line item in my budget for coffee, and it was between £20 and £40 a month, with someone who was a friend at the time, and I kept it in there because it was good for my mental health. When I made the decision to change my trajectory, really change my trajectory a little bit of the way through that year, and say to the friend in question that I couldn't afford to do a coffee twice a week, which was what that was for, and I needed to drop down to once a week and reduce that, because I knew that financially there were things I was wanting to do, and I'd started to address the behaviour. That was a big thing that's come from this channel, is me addressing my financial behaviour. That relationship with that friend completely broke down. And overnight, the line item for coffee disappeared. I didn't come on here and say I've had a massive falling out with this friend, we're no longer speaking, all because I tried to put a boundary in place and say I can't meet you for coffee twice a week, and we drop down to once a week. I can't meet you on your lifestyle, but I still want to spend time with you. Or do you want to come for mine for this? Or should we go for this? It was, no, I want the illusion. This person wanted the illusion. Bearing in mind, I kind of knew roughly what their financial situation was as well. I want the illusion of I'm someone who can afford to have coffee out a day, and coffee and cake a day, or coffee and a panini a day. So like £6. And this was someone who was doing that every single day. I couldn't meet them on that level anymore. I couldn't do it. I was no longer running a business. I'd been ill. My income was down, and I realised really quickly that if I wanted to, and at the time I just wanted to increase my personal spending money because I knew that I needed to. I'd recognised from my own behaviour, because of the way that I'd been budgeting, going back and rewatching what I'd said, because I'd go back and rewatch my videos, because I try to remember, because I have a memory like a sieve. I'm juggling everything as me, and I forget that I say I'm going to do things. So I will go back and rewatch my videos and look at what I've committed to, and either come on and say, I know I've committed to this, I need to change it, or I talked about this 10 videos ago, let's pick it back up again. It's not a case of, and I knew through that process that I needed to, I was overspending in my personal category. I had a line item for coffee. My income was slowly increasing, but it was going to be going through changes. I didn't go into the fact that I'd had this falling out and this issue. It just disappeared. That would have made a really good video. That would have been a good video. Think of it now. Think of the title. Let's think of it. Jazzy thumbnail. With like loads of attention catching stuff. Fighting with someone over money priorities. Falling out with a friend because we think differently about money. Boom. That would have been a good video. That would have been a video which, having been recently monetized, and it was around about that kind of April, May time, so I've been recently monetized. That would have been a video which would have probably hurt me a bit. Because drama sells. I put a thumbnail up that says surviving, not thriving, because that's genuinely how I felt. That video does really, really, really well. I put a video out recently, and I'm talking about recent videos. Things aren't financially improving, pardon me, anytime soon. That video does really, really, really well. I put a slightly more positive video out. It doesn't do as well. But all of those things are real to my life. My life is not all negative money. My life is not all massive drama. This year has felt tumultuous. This last 2 years have felt tumultuous because I made the massive step overnight to not re-enter the freelance industry, which I was in, and instead completely retrained for a new career field and just went and did it. And it's not gone smoothly, and we've had massive hiccups. There was a brief point from September 23 to November 2023. Yep. Yes. Where I was doing things. I was paying off debt. I was doing the small change cash stuffing, and then my cat got really sick and he's now terminally ill, and it all went to foot. And we're still here, and we're still thriving, and we're still dealing with it. It's really important to recognise both myself as a viewer and others that view, that you get a snapshot of what people are doing financially and you don't have the full picture, and that's because ultimately we're entitled to privacy. The kids in my form are asking if I've died. I've not, but they've not been told what's going on because I'm entitled to my health and my privacy. They're still asking if I've died, though. I'm not dead. You're not speaking to a ghost. I know I watch ghost hunting content, but that's not what this is. I'm entitled to a certain amount of privacy, and that may mean that you don't always get the full picture until well after the fact. It may mean that there's things that I discuss. It may mean that I make financial decisions which I can't fully go into. That's the challenge that comes with being a channel like this, is how much do you put out there and how much don't you? And if that means that this channel and this content isn't for you, fine, don't watch. No one's forcing you. If you've seen a snapshot of my videos and gone, yeah, this isn't for me, cool, wonderful. Why are you still watching then? All in all, it's made me realise that actually the best thing I did was become and put my financial information out there for strangers on the internet. The amount of change I have gone through. And before I go any further, this is not a call for please validate me in the comments. No. In fact, I prefer you didn't, please. I wouldn't have paid down my debt if I hadn't set up this channel. I wouldn't have gotten myself out of the financial situations if I hadn't set up this channel. I wouldn't have realised that I was a spender, and here's how I embrace that and use that but not overuse it if I hadn't set up this channel. I wouldn't have been able to weather the storms that I have weathered without setting up this channel. I wouldn't have developed the community that I have developed without setting up this channel. I wouldn't have been able to make really hard decisions and realise that actually there are things and strengths that I have, and there are weaknesses that I have as well that affect my budgeting, and here's how to deal with them. I wouldn't have been able to develop the extra income opportunities that I've seen and managed throughout this entire time and throughout the other hurdles that have come across without this channel. The best thing I did was set this up. Has it been hard? Yes. Do you leave yourself incredibly vulnerable when you do so? Yes. Not all of us do. Some of us do. And therefore, I'll continue to make the videos I make. And if it's not for you, bugger off. You're not wanted. I've been sat here working on some savings challenges throughout this entire video, and I'm going to end with a small announcement. You will know, if you've been around here for a while, that Etsy and I have a checkered past. I ran my first business on Etsy and it did incredibly well for me. This was before the channel existed, and then Etsy as a platform did not do so well for me. Because of customer service for sellers and fee increases, etc. Albeit I was trying to sell a very, very complex bespoke product that was successful. I've talked about whether I go back to Etsy or not, the appropriateness of it as a selling platform. Last night I set up notanother budget.com, not another budget at Etsy. I now have an Etsy store. It is in the process of being stocked. What I will also be doing is pausing my Shopify for now, and that is because I have been on a free £1 a month kind of shop site offer to host the site, and depending on kind of sales and performances, I was either going to keep it on and so it jumps to the full price or not. With my current financial situation, I will be temporarily closing notanother budget.com. My products will be available through Ko-fi, from a digital only side, and through Etsy. So Not Another Budget is now on Etsy, with products to be rolled out through there for the time kind of ongoing forward. I'm going to leave that link as well as all other links down in the description below. As always, you are never ever, do not ever feel obliged to do anything. The fact that you watch, if you lurk, and I myself am a lurker, if you comment, don't comment, donate, don't donate, like, do the thumbs up thing, don't do the thumbs up thing. To the one person who insists on disliking every single one of my videos, there is a special place for you as well, because you will not give me that 100% liked ratio, and that's fine. I've become used to 99% because I am a 99%er. I'm going to see you tomorrow with another video. It won't be like this, but it just got me reflecting last night, and I just went, yeah, I've got something to say, so I'm going to come on and say it. Any of the products that you have seen me work on, they will be available very, very soon, physical and digital. I hope you genuinely, to the troll out there, or the trolls out there that their lives are so lacking, I hope that you get some meaning in your life very, very soon. And to everyone else, I hope you have a fantastic budgeting week wherever around the world, and I'm going to see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.